Aging doesn't silence the heart's deepest desires. In fact, intimacy grows richer, deeper, and more meaningful with time. Let go of the myths society whispers. Love, connection, and passion have no age limit, and now is the perfect moment to embrace them fully. There's a quiet myth that has lingered in society for far too long, that intimacy, desire, and the tender dance of connection have an expiration date. Somewhere along the way, people began whispering that, after a certain age, passion dims, romance fades, and the need for physical closeness simply vanishes like a forgotten dream. But those whispers are wrong. Deeply, profoundly wrong. In truth, intimacy matures just as we do. It deepens, sweetens, and often becomes more beautiful and profound than it ever was in the blush of youth. Love does not obey a ticking clock. Desire does not diminish simply because the candles on our birthday cake grow more numerous. Instead, these precious parts of our humanity evolve, becoming richer, more soulful, and infinitely more meaningful. Intimacy at this stage of life is not about proving anything to anyone. It is not about keeping up with impossible expectations or chasing a fleeting image of what romance should look like. It is about savoring the simple, exquisite truth that being touched, held, kissed, and loved is a gift that belongs to every human being, regardless of the year they were born. It is about knowing yourself more deeply than ever before and offering that knowledge, the wisdom of a life well lived, to someone you trust and cherish. It is about connection without pretense, passion without pressure, and love without fear. Imagine a kind of love that is not rushed, not anxious, not driven by outside validation. A love that knows your soul, that cherishes your scars as much as your laughter. That is the kind of intimacy that flourishes later in life. It is gentler and yet more powerful. It asks for nothing and gives everything. It is made up of small, sacred moments, fingers intertwining without words, a glance across a quiet room, a tender kiss that speaks more than 1,000 conversations ever could. These are the moments that remind you are still here, still vibrant, still worthy of being desired. Far too often, older adults are made to feel invisible, as though they have somehow aged out of needing touch, closeness, or affection. But the truth is just the opposite. As the years go by and life weaves its intricate patterns of joy and sorrow across our hearts, the need for intimacy becomes even more vital. It is not something to be embarrassed about or hidden away. It is something to be honored, celebrated, and embraced. Science, too, stands firmly behind this truth. Studies show that sexual connection and emotional intimacy continue to have profound effects on our physical health, our mental sharpness, and our emotional resilience well into our later years. Regular touch, affection, and physical closeness release hormones that strengthen the heart, ease anxiety, boost mood, and even protect memory. Intimacy is not a luxury. It is part of what keeps us alive, in every sense of the word. And it's important to remember, intimacy is not limited to a single definition. It is not confined to a set of expectations or youthful notions of what it should be. It can be whatever you and your partner want it to be. Maybe it's a slow dance in the living room after dinner. Maybe it's holding hands during a morning walk. Maybe it's sharing secrets under the stars, feeling a sense of wonder that somehow, even after all these years, there are still new pieces of each other to discover. That is intimacy. That is passion. That is love. There is profound freedom in realizing that you are allowed to define your own experience of intimacy. You are allowed to find joy in your body, your emotions, and your connections, exactly as you are today. You don't have to chase who you were at 25. You only have to honor who you are now, wiser, stronger, and infinitely more beautiful in ways the world often forgets to recognize. So, if you find yourself questioning whether you are too old for intimacy, know this: you are not. Not today, not ever. The human heart does not retire. It beats to the rhythm of love, trust, and connection until the very end. Your capacity for closeness, for tenderness, for passion, is as real and necessary now as it was the first time you felt your heart stir at the touch of another's hand. Intimacy in later life is not a fading echo of youth. It is a celebration of everything you have lived through, everything you have become, and everything you still dream of sharing. It is proof that even as our bodies change, the deepest parts of us, the parts that long to love and be loved, remain gloriously unchanged. Age does not close the door to intimacy. If anything, it opens new doors. Doors that lead to deeper trust, gentler passion, and sweeter connection than you ever thought possible. And behind those doors lies a truth that many only come to appreciate with time. That love, when freed from the noise of youth, becomes something enduring, timeless, and breathtakingly real. So go ahead, hold hands a little longer, steal kisses under the stars, laugh in bed on a lazy Sunday morning. Know that the most beautiful chapter of your love story might just be the one you are living now. Because intimacy isn't about age, it's about the heart. And the heart, my dear friend, knows no age at all. When we think of intimacy, it's easy to imagine only the sweet emotional rewards, the tender touches, the soft laughter shared in the quiet spaces of life. But what often goes unspoken is just how deeply intimacy nourishes the body, mind, and spirit. Science, with all its careful studies and measured conclusions, tells us what many of us already know in our hearts. Closeness, affection, and sexual connection are powerful forces for healing and vitality, no matter how many years we have walked this earth. Intimacy is not simply a pleasure of life, it is a vital act of living. Each moment of physical connection sets into motion a cascade of benefits that ripple through every part of us, waking up the muscles, stirring the heart, clearing the mind. It's a truth that feels almost poetic. The simple act of love keeps us healthier, happier, and more alive. Physically, the rewards of intimacy are profound. A warm embrace, a shared kiss, or a night spent in the arms of a loved one releases a rush of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. These invisible messengers work their magic, easing pain, lowering stress, lifting spirits, and bringing a glow to the skin and a sparkle to the eyes. Regular intimacy improves circulation, strengthens the heart, and helps regulate blood pressure. In fact, studies have shown that physical closeness can function much like gentle exercise, encouraging movement, stimulating the cardiovascular system, and even helping to keep joints more flexible over time. And the blessings do not stop at the body's edge. Emotional intimacy builds bridges deep within the mind. During those private moments of connection, another hormone, called oxytocin, is released. A beautiful chemical, often called the love hormone. Oxytocin softens fear, quiets the storms of anxiety, and nurtures feelings of trust and safety. In a world that can sometimes feel rushed and impersonal, this sense of emotional anchoring is priceless. It reminds us that we are not alone. It reminds us that we are deeply seen, known, and loved. Intimacy is also a balm for the mind's sharp edges. Research has shown that older adults who maintain active, intimate lives tend to experience lower rates of depression and anxiety. The sense of belonging, of being desired, of being touched with affection, all of these nourish the emotional core. When loneliness creeps in, as it sometimes does in the quieter chapters of life, even a simple caress can reignite the flickering flame of hope and connection. Even the brain, the most mysterious and powerful part of our being, reaps incredible rewards from intimacy. Studies have suggested that sexual activity may stimulate regions of the brain associated with memory and cognition, helping to protect against the slow, silent fade of diseases like Alzheimer's. Every tender touch, every shared breath, every whispered word acts like a light, flickering in the mind's deepest corridors, keeping the pathways of memory clear and alive. It is no exaggeration to say that intimacy sharpens the mind while softening the heart. It stirs emotional resilience, helping us to weather life's inevitable losses and changes with greater grace. It helps us feel vital, engaged, and purposeful, essential ingredients for healthy aging. But perhaps most importantly, intimacy nurtures the soul. It reminds us that we are more than the sum of our years, more than the changes etched into our skin or the silver threading through our hair. We are living, breathing beings, capable of giving and receiving love at every stage of life. Intimacy becomes a mirror, reflecting back to us the truth that we are still vibrant, still beautiful, still worthy. Sadly, many older adults are subtly taught to believe that their time for love has passed, that the doors to passion have closed quietly behind them. But nothing could be further from the truth. The body may move a little slower, the joints may protest more loudly, but the heart, the magnificent heart, beats with the same ancient, enduring rhythm it always has. It craves touch, it thrives on closeness, and it blossoms under the gentle care of affection. We must remember that intimacy in later life is not a weaker, lesser version of youth's passion. It is a refined, golden form of love, rich with wisdom, patience, and a tenderness earned only through the trials and triumphs of a life well lived. It is not rushed or reckless. It is deliberate, mindful, and infinitely sweeter for the knowing. So honor your body, your mind, and your soul by allowing intimacy to remain a vibrant part of your life. Celebrate the laughter shared in bed, the long talks under starlit skies, the sleepy embraces over morning coffee. Welcome the ways your body asks to be loved now, and answer it with kindness and joy. Feed your mind with the light of connection. Tend to your soul with the water of touch and affection. For in intimacy, there is healing. In intimacy, there is renewal. And in intimacy, there is a quiet, powerful kind of magic that says, no matter how many seasons you have seen, you are still gloriously, wonderfully alive. When it comes to intimacy in later life, many people quietly wonder, how often should we be making love? It's a tender question, but one that is often weighed down by invisible pressures, the relentless ticking of an imaginary clock, the distant echoes of youthful expectations, the silent comparisons to what others might be doing. Yet, here is a truth that deserves to be heard, whispered softly into the soul. There is no perfect number. There is no secret tally that determines whether your intimacy is meaningful or your connection is enough. The heart cannot be measured in numbers, neither can love. What matters most, what has always mattered most, is not how often you share intimacy with your partner, but how deeply you connect when you do. Frequency is a hollow number without fulfillment. One true, tender, present moment is worth 1,000 rushed encounters. Intimacy in these golden years is about quality, not quantity. It's about leaning fully into the moment, being present with your partner, and allowing yourself to give and receive love without expectation or fear. Research supports what many wise hearts already know. Studies show that older adults who maintain some form of regular intimacy, whether weekly, monthly, or simply whenever the spirit moves them, report greater satisfaction in their relationships and in life itself. But the studies also reveal something even more profound. It isn't about how often, it's about how connected, loved, and emotionally fulfilled they feel. Some couples find joy in weekly connection. Others find it in a quiet, tender touch now and then. There is no right. There is no wrong. There is only what feels good and genuine to you and your beloved. As we grow older, the race of youth fades away, and with it goes the need to perform according to some unwritten script. Gone is the pressure to keep up or meet expectations that were never truly our own. In its place is something far richer, the freedom to write your own love story, to let intimacy breathe naturally into your life, without guilt, without shame, and without judgment. Some days, intimacy might mean holding each other close under a shared blanket, watching the sunset in comfortable silence. Other days, it might mean a kiss on the forehead before sleep, or a lingering glance across the kitchen table. And yes, there will be times when it means much more, a deeper physical expression of love that leaves both hearts full and spirits lifted. All of it counts. All of it matters. You see, Intimacy in these beautiful later years is not a chore to be checked off or a duty to fulfill. It is a gift. It is an offering of yourself, your heart, and your tenderness to someone who has walked life's winding roads by your side. It is not about meeting a number. It is about creating moments that make the world disappear, even if only for a little while, leaving just the two of you wrapped in something timeless and true. It's important to honor the ebb and flow of life, too. Health changes, energy levels shift, emotions rise and fall like tides. There will be seasons of more and seasons of less, and both are perfectly, beautifully normal. What matters is that you remain attuned to one another, that you nurture closeness in whatever form it takes. When love leads the way, intimacy becomes a natural, joyful part of life, rather than a source of pressure or worry. And remember this, even the smallest gestures of affection can sustain the tender flame of connection. A hand resting gently on a shoulder, a shared laugh over a private memory, a soft "I love you" whispered before the lights go out. These moments are just as powerful, just as necessary, as any grand act of romance. They are the stitches that hold the fabric of love together. You are not here to meet anyone else's expectations, but your own. You are not here to measure your love against someone else's yardstick. You are here to love and be loved in ways that feel real, kind, and true to who you are today. If that means intimacy once a week, wonderful. If it means once a month, beautiful. If it means finding closeness in holding hands and slow dances rather than in more traditional ways, that is just as perfect. What matters most is this: intimacy should always leave you feeling cherished, connected, and alive. It should never feel like a burden, a duty, or a race. It should feel like a gentle homecoming, a return to the heart of what truly matters. So free yourself from the numbers, the comparisons, the shoulds and shouldn'ts. Lean instead into what your heart knows, that love is measured not in how often you touch, but in how deeply you feel. In the end, a life filled with connection, tenderness, and true presence is the greatest love story of all, and it is yours to write every beautiful day you are given. No journey worth taking is ever without obstacles, and intimacy in later life is no exception. As the years bless us with wisdom, they sometimes also bring challenges, aches in places that once moved freely, worries that whisper doubts where confidence once lived, memories of a body that responded differently. But here is a tender truth: the presence of obstacles does not mean the end of intimacy. It only means the beginning of a new, deeper understanding of love, of patience, and of grace. Physical changes are natural companions on the path of aging. Joints may ache, energy may ebb, flexibility may wane, but none of these changes need close the door to closeness. In fact, they can open new doors, doors to creativity, to communication, to a gentler kind of passion that asks not for perfection, but for presence. Adjustments in how we express our intimacy can turn challenges into opportunities for deeper connection. A shift in position, the soft support of a pillow, a slower pace, these are not compromises. They are acts of love. They say, "I want to share this with you, and I will meet you exactly where you are." For many, medical conditions such as arthritis, heart disease, or chronic pain seem like silent walls standing between them and the intimacy they crave. But walls can be climbed, and paths can be found. Doctors today are far more attuned to the importance of sexual health in older adults. A quiet, honest conversation with a trusted healthcare provider can reveal options and adaptations that preserve both comfort and closeness. Lubricants, medications, gentle therapies, and simply new ways of approaching intimacy can transform obstacles into stepping stones. Equally important are the emotional and psychological barriers that often go unseen, but are felt deeply. Aging can sometimes whisper cruel doubts into the mind, doubts about desirability, about worth, about the changing shape of one's own body. It is easy, in moments of vulnerability, to wonder, am I still beautiful? Am I still enough? But the answer, whispered back by the heart of your beloved and by the deep wisdom within yourself, is yes. Yes, you are more than enough. The beauty of intimacy at this stage of life lies not in smooth skin or youthful vigor, but in authenticity, in the trust to reveal yourself just as you are, in the courage to embrace the lines and curves that life has etched upon you as a map of all the places your soul has traveled. Intimacy now is an act of acceptance of yourself and of each other. It is permission to be fully seen and fully loved. Open communication is the bridge that carries love across the rivers of doubt. Speaking gently and honestly with your partner about fears, needs, hopes, and hesitations builds a foundation stronger than any youthful passion. It creates a space where vulnerability is not a risk but a gift that says, I trust you with my heart, with my insecurities, with my dreams. External stressors, too, can weigh heavily on the spirit. Caregiving responsibilities, financial worries, grief, and the everyday demands of life can leave little room for romance. Some days, exhaustion may sit heavier than desire. Some nights, stress may crowd out closeness. But even here, small gestures matter. A warm touch on the back, a knowing smile across a room, a whispered word of encouragement. These are the stitches that mend weary hearts and keep the fabric of intimacy intact. If deeper sadness, anxiety, or emotional heaviness lingers, seeking support is an act of courage, not weakness. Speaking to a counselor, therapist, or trusted friend can help lift the burdens that dim the light of connection. You are not alone in this journey. There are hands ready to help you find your way back to the joy and peace you deserve. Intimacy does not demand perfection. It only asks for presence, for tenderness, for the willingness to show up day after day, heart open, arms wide. It asks us to redefine what connection looks like, not as something measured by past standards, but as something crafted lovingly in the present moment. There may be times when traditional intimacy feels out of reach. That is not failure. That is life inviting you to explore new forms of closeness. Holding hands during a movie, cuddling beneath a shared blanket, sharing dreams late into the night. These moments are every bit as powerful as the grandest gestures of romance. They say, I am here, I see you, I love you still. So be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with each other. Know that every challenge you overcome together deepens the well of your love. Every adaptation, every tender compromise, every brave conversation is a testament to the strength of your bond. Love, in later life, is not a lesser love. It is a seasoned love, a love that has weathered storms and bloomed through winters. It is a love that knows that true intimacy is not found in perfection, but in the beautiful, imperfect dance of two souls choosing each other again and again. There is a quiet beauty that only time can bring, a softening, a deepening, a way of loving that the hurried pace of youth could never fully understand. In the early seasons of life, intimacy may bloom quickly, fueled by excitement, novelty, and passion. But in the later chapters, it transforms into something richer, something soul-deep. It becomes less about the rush and more about the roots, less about performance and more about presence. And it is here, in the golden hours of life, that emotional intimacy reveals itself as the true heart of love. Emotional intimacy is not measured by grand gestures or fleeting passions. It is woven from the quiet moments, a hand reaching for yours across the table, a smile that speaks volumes without a single word, a shared glance that says, I know you, I see you, I am still here. It is the feeling of being understood without having to explain, the comfort of knowing that you are loved, not in spite of who you are, but because of it, all of it, the joys, the flaws, the dreams, the fears. As we age, the nature of intimacy evolves. The need to impress fades, replaced by the desire to connect. The body may change, but the heart remains steadfast. In fact, many find that their emotional connection with their partner grows even stronger with time, rooted not in appearance or performance, but in a lifetime of shared experiences, quiet forgivenesses, and countless small acts of love. This kind of intimacy cannot be rushed. It is the work of seasons, of staying when it would have been easier to go, of choosing love over and over again. And in this choosing, something extraordinary happens. Emotional intimacy becomes the foundation upon which physical intimacy rests. It creates a safe harbor where vulnerability is not feared but welcomed, where laughter and tears, hopes and heartaches are all laid bare without shame. Physical closeness, then, is no longer just an act. It is an extension of a deep emotional bond, a way of saying with the body what the soul already knows. This bond is what sustains love through the inevitable changes of time. The lines that map our faces, the silver threads that weave through our hair, these are not signs of loss, but of life. They are the proof that we have loved and lived, struggled and soared. Emotional intimacy teaches us to see the beauty in these marks of experience, to cherish the person before us, not for how they once looked, but for who they have become. It is this deep connection that makes even the simplest moments sacred. Sitting quietly together as the sun sets, laughing over memories only the two of you share, reaching out in the night to find a familiar hand. These are the treasures of a love that has endured, a love that has been tested and found true. And perhaps most powerfully, emotional intimacy reminds us that we are still desired. In a world that too often tells older adults that they have outlived their beauty, emotional closeness shouts a defiant, joyful truth. You are still wanted. You are still worthy of being loved, touched, cherished. Intimacy at this stage of life is a profound affirmation of value, a reminder that desire is not confined to youth, but is a flame that can burn brightly at any age, fueled by tenderness, trust, and mutual understanding. Touch becomes a language of its own, a brush of the hand, a kiss on the forehead, a body drawn close in silent reassurance. And even when physical intimacy changes, even when it becomes less frequent or takes new forms, the emotional bond remains strong, unbreakable. It is the heartbeat beneath every shared moment, the unseen thread that ties two souls together through all the shifting seasons of life. For some, emotional intimacy may look like long conversations that stretch late into the night. For others, it may be found in the simple act of being together, in the comfort of silence, in the deep knowing that no words are needed. However it appears, emotional intimacy is the soil in which love continues to grow. Season after season, decade after decade. It is never too late to nurture this kind of connection. It is never too late to reach for your partner's hand, to look into their eyes and see not just who they were, but who they are now. More beautiful, more beloved, more precious than ever before. Love in later life is not a fading ember. It is a fire refined by time, burning with a steadier, deeper light. It warms not just the body, but the soul. It whispers that we are still here, still capable of great love, still connected to another heart in ways that defy time and circumstance. So cherish the emotional intimacy you have built. Feed it with kindness, with patience, with laughter, with forgiveness. Let it be the place you return to again and again, a sanctuary where love is not measured by age, but by depth, devotion, and the quiet joy of simply belonging to one another. As we journey through the later seasons of life, it becomes clear that intimacy is not bound by age, nor dimmed by the passing of time. It is in fact enriched by it, growing softer, deeper, and more profoundly beautiful. Far from fading away, love matures into something timeless, something that whispers to the soul that we are still vibrant, still worthy, still capable of breathtaking connection. There is no magic number to measure the right amount of closeness, no rigid expectation to chase. True intimacy, the kind that nourishes both the heart and the body, is born not from frequency, but from meaning. It is woven from gentle touches, deep trust, open conversations, and the quiet understanding that love, at its purest, only grows stronger with time. Whatever form intimacy takes for you, whether it's a shared laugh, a lingering kiss, a hand held in the dark, know that it matters. Every small act of affection is a testament to a life well lived, a love well tended, a spirit still richly alive. You deserve connection, tenderness, and joy, no matter the number of candles on your cake or the years etched upon your hands. So let go of the old myths, release the pressure to perform or compare, embrace the freedom that this chapter of life brings, the freedom to love authentically, deeply, and without fear, the freedom to define intimacy on your own beautiful terms. Because the truth is simple and extraordinary, love has no expiration date, and neither does the radiant, tender, infinite capacity of your heart.